years ago with John Sloss. I give all the credit. To Josh Brolin. No, it's not good. So he and I have been friends for a very long time, and he came to me with a book that he had optioned called Rats, New York Times bestselling book by Robert Sullivan. And he goes, what do you think about making this? And so I read it, and now we'll jump back 35 years to 10-year-old me growing up in Beckley, West Virginia, with my terrible, amazing parents, who, it's true, it was the 70s, they were awful. They did terrible things. They would leave you in the car with the windows rolled up. Yeah. They would take you to see movies that you should never show a child, like The Exorcist and Jaws. I saw them in movie theaters. But at 10, I saw a movie called Scanners, and it changed my life forever because, yes, give it up for Canada's own, Canada's greatest living director. I saw that movie, and when Michael Ironside made that man's head explode, it changed my life forever. Because it was like that moment was the moment that made me want to make movies. Weird. It explains a lot. Therapy works in a lot of ways. And so now cut to today, where I have this lifelong love affair with horror films, with like genre films, with scary films. I just can't get enough of them. I love the way they make you feel. I love the way they make you think, the way that they just make you so uncomfortable. And so when Josh brought this book to me, he goes, what do you think about making this? And I said, what if we made a horror documentary? What if we made a documentary that was as creepy, as scary, as weird, as dark, as uncomfortable as a typical horror film? And he's like, I love that. How would you do that? And I was like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And that is the awesome movie that we're showing to you guys tonight. Which is Rats, and I give mad props and mad love to Tiff, and thank you Midnight Madness for validating our film as being creeptastic and rat-tastic, and I want you to tweet and share the love and tell all your friends how amazing it is, but right now, sit back, relax, check under your seats. Yeah. This is Rats. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, this film is eligible for the Girls' People's Choice Award, but also the Girls' People's Choice Midnight Madness Award. Guys, this is one of 10 films. You have so much voting power. Vote. Can you believe that documentary on rats, we winning the Midnight Madness Award? It's amazing.
History.
Yeah, you can make history.
You're going to make history. You guys are going to vote such good things. Yes.
You can vote with your ticket.
Just do it now. Do it now before it even starts. I'm just telling you something. Hey, you want to closer?
You should host horror movies. You should be a horror movie host.
I know.
I think you had a new career.
Look, and he cleans up nice. Look how good he looks.
How did you two meet? Because you told us about how the project sort of arrived at. But what about your subject?
Well, we started calling around. When we first started making the film, one of the things that I said is, when I had the idea for the movie, and once we knew we were moving forward with Josh and Rats, I said, I want to find my Quint. I want to find the guy on the boat who's telling me about all the guys who went into the water. And guess what happened? And so we started calling around, and I said, who's the person? Who's the guy that's been fighting rats in New York City for decades? And every time I would call different exterminators around the city, they would say, oh, you got to call Ed Sheehan. And every time I call somebody, it's like multiple people are saying, you got to call Ed Sheehan. He's the guy. He's been doing it forever. You got to call Ed. So then I called Ed Sheehan, and Ed's like, what do you want from me? I was like, we're making a movie. He's like, what do I care? And I said, let's talk about it. So I went out and talked to Ed, and he's like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. So Ed, what did you think when we called?
I've dealt with TVs in New York City where they wanted me to say things that weren't true, and it usually ended with, no, you have to say what we want you to say, and I would say goodbye. So we're a little leery of these things, but as they approached me, and I brought in my son Joe, who now knows everything, tells me sometimes I need to be tested. Because I know this guy, he supersized me, and so he was legit. So we figured, okay, we'll give it a shot. Legit-ish.
And the thing that really struck me is that, when I went into first watching it, it's sort of, my understanding was okay, this is going to be a horror movie about rats, or a horror documentary about rats. But I like that it's a horror movie from two perspectives. It's both a horror movie for humans and a horror movie for rats. Was that something that began at the beginning of the project, or something as you were collecting this footage, especially the footage of these mass rat exterminations? It it would play to an audience of rats, I think, the same way.
Yeah.
I think rats will not like this movie. They're really not going to like this film. There's going to be some protests, some very small signs. No, I think that the minute we came in and we started saying, where are we going to go? It was all about like characters and stories and where are like the best rat things we can dive into. And we were just very fortunate that we were able to get access to so many things, from the night rat killers in India, which is fucking bananas, and just amazing people to.
That's a rat horror movie.
That's a
Yeah.
movie where they're killing, they're like breaking their little necks with their hands.
And what would that? How long did you guys hang out with those? Like, did you go?
We shot over there for a few days, and Luca was there. It was 100+ degrees, well, 120 when we were there, in Vietnam, and in India. It was like stifling hot. Yeah.
And did these subjects kind of lead from one to another, or were they kind of, you did your research in one place, then you knew what you wanted to do?
Well, we did most of our research out of New York, and so we were like, we're diving into where could we find stories, and so then out of those stories you start trying to like Skype out to people or find people. Then we'd hire fixers once we talked to those people to like then go shoot just a little like whether it's on an iPhone or like on a little camera to send us stuff back that we could look at, and then we'd be like, okay, great, because the idea of flying halfway around the world on a fishing expedition was not what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to hit the ground and know that when we got there we'd be able to capture something that was really going to be important for the film. And just, mad props to Mr. Luca Del Peppo for making it all look amazing.
I think aesthetically, I love how you mentioned at the beginning that you've grown up on horror movies. It's in your DNA, and it comes across in the movie. And I wonder, in preparing to make this documentary, did you binge watch a bunch of horror movies? Because
I binge watched so many horror films that I hadn't seen in forever, like Extra, Motel Hell, the classics.
Yeah.
Like new ones, old ones. Like I was watching like probably a horror film every night of pre-production, and then Luke and I would get together. And we had our little vision boards of like, we pull shots out of things, we pull stills out of movies we liked.
Like did you have like a lookbook or something?
Totally, we had a complete lookbook of like hallways and shadows and how it were and things that would be backlit, and Lucas should talk about this because like he and I had a lot of great conversations about how you kind of emulate what horror films stand for.
We just had a lot of bad dreams for a long time.
Still am.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of like getting together a lot of those references and then trying to distill what all of that stuff meant. A lot of black in the image, a lot of backlight, kind of withholding information too, and also like looking for things like symmetry or a lot of negative space, and kind of getting the frame to feel sick a little bit.
The one thing that I love about horror films is what makes horror films more scary for me is the things you never see and what you don't, what isn't in front of you. And the more that we can create anticipation, the more we can kind of bring that fear to you of everything you're not seeing, but you're hearing, you're thinking about. Like there's more sound design in this film than I've ever put on any movie we've ever done. And,
Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the amount of stuff that plays around the room while you're watching, the things that are behind you, like you may be watching the film, but then suddenly there's a rat you hear up behind you in the back of the room, whether it be flies coming around you. Like we really tried to make it an infinitely more immersive experience from a doc standpoint, just so we could kind of heighten that horror reality for you.
And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to I have some quite more questions, but I want to get the people in the audience. Yes. The question was about, while doing the documentary, has there been a health study on the people in India who
Amazingly
live with the
enough,
rats?
Yeah, so like amazingly enough, all those people in the temple are totally fine.
Yeah.
They're drinking that milk, they're eating the food, nobody is sick.
They built up a tolerance to it too.
Yeah.
Although the night rat killers are killing the rats with their hands, we asked them about that. And they said, oh no, we just get like some boils sometimes that last like 6 months and then they go away. That was just kind of curious.
Yeah, just like a little boil. Something like rat teeth things.
And were you familiar with these other
Well, the documentary is fantastic, but yes, in my life in pest control, the kids have taken over the business, and I got approved by New York State to teach pest control. So one of the films that we use in our classes is called Ratopolis, and it shows this very similar scene, and so in certain sections of the world, these rats are some kind of a god that you can pray to. I pray to them every day because they help me put 3 kids through college. They're quite wonderful in certain respects.
Not to use voiceover and incredibly, like really limited somebody on screen kind of talk. Like there's no talking heads in this film with the exception of kind of this handsome man next to me, because we wanted it not to feel like a documentary. There's no lower thirds in the whole film that tell you who people are, because the minute you put up a lower third, it's like, oh, here's somebody that tell you who it is, and it feels like a documentary. If you go see any other movie in the world, there's never a lower third saying, this doctor's important. He's important because he's in the movie. And so we said, let's treat this like a movie. Let's treat it like you would any other type of film. And our scientists are important because they're in the film and they're scientists and they're doing important research and they tell you what they're doing and why it matters. Our exterminators are important because of what they instruct us and how they educate us, and they're important because they're in the film. And Ed's important because he's that guy. He's amazing. He's the king of New York City. And so, he's the only person we wanted to kind of take you in even closer, even close to a doc space, because I felt like he was the greatest person to kind of give us entree in a world that would feel the most natural. So that was the reason why we kind of avoided most of those things. There's a lot of sound ups. You hear a lot of things over the course of the film where you would normally have voiceover that we pulled from radio or we pulled from other interviews, that you turn into these different sound bites that are reports and news reports. And they start to feel not like voiceover. They start to feel like things you're hearing, and they satisfy the exact same objective of voiceover, but they're done in an infinitely better cinematic way than saying just blah 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 from a voiceover standpoint. And one, it doesn't take you out of the illusion. And the biggest thing is that horror films do a great job of doing is they keep you in the illusion, and that's from minute 1 to minute 90. I wanted to keep you in the illusion of what the film was. As far as eating rats. No, we wanted to. I grew up in West Virginia eating squirrels my whole life. It's a true story. I'm a hillbilly. And squirrels are just like prettier rats in a lot of ways. They have really beautiful tails. And we actually made the decision not to eat anything in Vietnam because we shot Vietnam after we've shot in New Orleans. And you saw everything that was pulled out of the rats.
Once you see a botfly crawl out of a rat, I guess
Yeah.
You're kind of done.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the other things that are in their lungs and their livers and other parts of their organs. We're like, yeah, I think we're all right.